Transitioning from electrical metallic tubing, or EMT, to polyvinyl chloride, or PVC, conduit outdoors constitutes a code violation according to the National Electrical Code, or NEC. The NEC mandates that all outdoor conduit and fittings must be weatherproof. EMT inherently lacks weatherproof characteristics, and PVC is not designed nor approved for use as a transition fitting between different conduit types. The permissible method for transitioning from EMT to PVC outdoors involves employing a weatherproof transition fitting specifically listed for this purpose. These fittings are engineered to maintain a weatherproof seal and provide mechanical protection for the conductors within the conduit system. To elaborate on the NEC requirements, the code provides specific articles and sections that govern the installation of raceways and enclosures in various environments. Firstly, NEC Section 300.3 addresses the suitability of raceways and enclosures for the specific environment. It emphasizes that raceways and enclosures installed in wet locations, such as outdoors, must be designed and installed to prevent water from entering and accumulating within the raceway system. Secondly, NEC Section 314.15 further reinforces this requirement by specifically addressing boxes, conduit bodies, and fittings installed in wet locations. This section mandates that these components be listed for use in wet locations and constructed to prevent water from entering the enclosure. Thirdly, NEC Section 358.10 outlines the permitted uses of EMT. While EMT is suitable for use in both exposed and concealed locations, it is not permitted to be installed in locations subject to severe physical damage or were exposed to corrosive fumes or vapors. Additionally, EMT requires supplementary corrosion protection when installed in direct contact with soil or exposed to weather. Fourthly, NEC Section 352.10 details the permitted uses of PVC conduit. PVC conduit is permitted to be installed in various locations, including underground, embedded in concrete, and in direct sunlight. However, PVC conduit is not specifically listed or intended for use as a transition fitting between different types of conduit. Fifthly, NEC Section 352.48 addresses the installation of expansion fittings where PVC conduit is subject to thermal expansion and contraction. This section highlights the importance of accounting for changes in length due to temperature variations to prevent damage to the conduit system. Therefore, to ensure compliance with the NEC and maintain a safe and reliable electrical installation, it is crucial to utilize listed weatherproof transition fittings when transitioning from EMT to PVC conduit outdoors. These fittings provide a secure and weatherproof connection between the two conduit types, protecting the conductors from moisture and environmental damage. Using the incorrect fitting or attempting to transition directly from EMT to PVC without a listed transition fitting can lead to several problems. Firstly, water can enter the conduit system, potentially causing corrosion of the conductors and equipment connected to the electrical system. Secondly, the lack of a proper seal can create a pathway for moisture to migrate into electrical enclosures, leading to short circuits, ground faults, and equipment failure. Thirdly, an improper transition can create a mechanical weak point in the conduit system, making it susceptible to damage from physical impact or environmental factors. Fourthly, failing to comply with NEC requirements can result in costly rework and potential fines from electrical inspectors. Fifthly, and most importantly, an unsafe electrical installation can pose a significant risk of electrical shock or fire. When selecting a weatherproof transition fitting, it is essential to choose a fitting that is specifically listed for the purpose by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories, or Intertek, or ETL. The listing mark on the fitting indicates that it has been tested and evaluated to meet applicable safety standards. Additionally, ensure that the fitting is compatible with the sizes of EMT and PVC conduit being used. The installation process for a weatherproof transition fitting typically involves the following steps. Firstly, cut the EMT and PVC conduit to the desired lengths. Secondly, deburr the cut ends of the conduit to remove any sharp edges that could damage the conductors. Thirdly, apply a suitable lubricant to the conduit ends to facilitate insertion into the fitting. Fourthly, insert the EMT and PVC conduit into the appropriate ends of the transition fitting. Fifthly, tighten the fittings, compression or set screw connections according to the manufacturer's instructions to ensure a secure and weatherproof seal. Sixthly, if required, apply a weatherproof sealant to the fittings joints to provide additional protection against moisture ingress. Seventhly, inspect the completed transition to ensure that all connections are tight and that the fitting is properly aligned. In addition to using a listed weatherproof transition fitting, it is also important to follow other best practices for installing conduit systems outdoors. Firstly, support the conduit at appropriate intervals to prevent sagging and maintain proper alignment. Secondly, use conduit straps or clamps that are suitable for outdoor use and resistant to corrosion. Thirdly, seal any openings or penetrations in enclosures to prevent water from entering. Fourthly, ensure that all grounding connections are properly made to provide a safe path for fault current. Fifthly, protect the conduit system from physical damage by installing it in a location where it is not likely to be struck by vehicles or equipment. Sixthly, regularly inspect the conduit system for signs of damage or deterioration and make any necessary repairs promptly. By adhering to the NEC requirements and following these best practices, electrical installers can ensure that outdoor conduit systems are safe, reliable, and compliant with applicable codes and standards. This promotes the safety of people and property, prevents costly repairs and downtime, and contributes to the overall integrity of the electrical system. The NEC is a comprehensive document that provides detailed requirements for electrical installations. It is updated every 3 years to reflect advancements in technology and address emerging safety concerns. The electrical professionals should stay informed about the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local amendments to ensure compliance with the most current codes and standards. Furthermore, it is highly recommended to consult with a qualified electrical inspector or engineer when designing or installing electrical systems, particularly in complex or challenging environments. These professionals can provide valuable guidance and ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. In summary, transitioning from EMT to PVC conduit outdoors without a listed weatherproof transition fitting is a code violation according to the NEC. Using a listed fitting, following best practices, and staying informed about the latest codes and standards are essential for ensuring a safe, reliable, and compliant electrical installation. Remember, proper planning, careful execution, and a commitment to safety are crucial for successful electrical projects. Ignoring these guidelines can lead to hazardous conditions and costly consequences. Always prioritize safety and compliance when working with electricity. Also, be mindful of environmental factors that can affect the performance and longevity of electrical installations. Consider the potential for corrosion, temperature variations, and exposure to sunlight when selecting materials and designing conduit systems. Implementing preventative measures such as using corrosion-resistant fittings and providing adequate protection from the sun can extend the lifespan of the installation and reduce the need for future repairs. Additionally, proper documentation of the electrical installation is essential for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Keep accurate records of conduit runs, fitting types, and wiring configurations. This information can be invaluable when making repairs or modifications to the system. Furthermore, consider using labeling to identify different components of the conduit system. Clear labeling can help prevent confusion and ensure that maintenance personnel can quickly identify and address any issues. Finally, remember that electrical work can be dangerous. Always to energize circuits before working on them and use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, such as insulated gloves and safety glasses. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician. Electricity is a powerful force that should be treated with respect. By following safety precautions and adhering to code requirements, you can protect yourself and others from electrical hazards. In addition to the points already covered, let's delve into some more specific considerations when transitioning from EMT to PVC conduit outdoors. Firstly, consider the specific environment where the transition will occur. Is the area subject to harsh weather conditions such as extreme temperatures, heavy rain, or exposure to salt spray? If so, it's even more critical to select a transition fitting that is specifically designed to withstand these conditions. Look for fittings that are made from corrosion-resistant materials and that have a high degree of ingress protection, or IP, rating. Secondly, think about the potential for physical damage to the conduit system. Is the area prone to vandalism or accidental impacts? If so, consider using a transition fitting that is reinforced or that is protected by a physical barrier. This will help to prevent damage to the fitting and the conduit system as a whole. Thirdly, factor in the ease of installation and maintenance. Some transition fittings are easier to install than others. Choose a fitting that is relatively simple to install and that doesn't require any specialized tools or equipment. This will save time and reduce the risk of errors. Also, consider how easy it will be to access the fitting for maintenance purposes. Ensure that the fitting is located in a place where it can be easily inspected and repaired if necessary. Fourthly, pay attention to the grounding requirements. The NEC requires that all metal conduit systems be properly grounded to provide a safe path for fault current. Ensure that the transition fitting is properly grounded and that the grounding connection is secure and reliable. Fifthly, consider the aesthetic appearance of the conduit system. In some cases, the appearance of the conduit system may be an important consideration. Choose a transition fitting that is aesthetically pleasing and that blends in with the surrounding environment. This may involve selecting a fitting with a specific color or finish. Sixthly, be aware of any local codes or regulations that may apply. Some jurisdictions may have specific requirements for conduit installations, including requirements for transition fittings. Be sure to check with your local electrical inspector to ensure that your installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Seventhly, and finally, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you are unsure about any aspect of the transition, don't hesitate to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer. These professionals can provide valuable guidance and ensure that your installation is safe, reliable, and compliant. In conclusion, transitioning from EMT to PVC conduit outdoors requires careful planning and attention to detail. By following the NEC requirements, selecting the right materials, and using proper installation techniques, you can ensure that your conduit system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember to prioritize safety and to consult with qualified professionals if you have any questions or concerns.